Hey, y'all, welcome to the Career and Technical Education Podcast. I'm Brandon Grace, and I'm here with
Randall Hust.
And I'm Kristie Cole at South Plains College Surgical Technology Program.
Awesome. Thank you for being here, Kristie.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
So I am a surgical technologist. I have been the program director for 12 years. I've been a surgical technologist for 20 years. A lot of the things that I do is really an advocate for a sleeping patient, and my passion is teaching. So I decided to jump on board when the directorship opened up at South Plains, and I actually graduated from this program in 2003. So I'm an alumni. So I am really excited to be a part of South Plains College.
That's awesome. As a young person going through school, what gave you the ideal, or why did you decide you wanted to go into surgical tech?
For me, I always wanted to be a doctor. And then when I decided to go into surgical technology just as a stepping stone, I stayed because it was such a exciting career. I could do anything from general surgery to neurosurgery to just delivering a baby. So the field is just wide open. I even loved it because I was able to get a technical degree. I got a certificate of proficiency. And then years later, I went back and got my associate's degree. And years later, I got my bachelor's degree from Wayland. And then years later, I got my master's, and I'm in my doctorate right now.
Oh, how cool.
So it was a big stepping stone, but it was something to get me in there. And South Plains College allowed me to do that for sure.
That is very cool.
So whenever, like your path of joining and getting into South Plains College or going through the program that you're actually in charge of now, what really drove you to go into that?
I think for me is actually when I was 18, I got sick and I had surgery for the very first time. And I remember every element of the operating room. And I was like, I'm going to do that. And I didn't have a pathway, and South Plains College gave me that pathway. The school I graduated from didn't have a pathway. And so I know with Lubbock ISD, they have a great pathway, and we partner with them. So I'm really excited about it.
Those of you guys that don't know, South Plains College is our local junior college. They're very close to us. And we do have some really great partnerships. Tell us about your program there at South Plains College that you're obviously in charge of.
Yeah. So our program is a 15-month program. It is through Allied Health. It is on the Reese campus, so it's really close to Lubbock. And it starts every August and finishes in the following December. So our application process has changed quite a bit throughout the year because we are nationally notified. I mean, they really do love our program. Everywhere our students have gone, they have really wanted more of our students. And so we now have a big application process where we have prereqs now to come in. You have to have anatomy and physiology and medical terminology. And Lubbock ISD actually offers a lot of dual credits that allows that to enhance that. Nice. We have a point system application process. So if you go through like the patient care technician, the EKG, the phlebotomy, all of that gives you points to be able to come in to our program right out of high school.
Nice. How many students do y'all have go through each year?
We have 35 now that we accept because of our clinical spots, but we usually have between 60 and 120 applications. So it's very competitive. So we started a sub-program, a sterile processing technician program, and that allows some people to kind of bridge into that as they wait for their application to come in through surgical technology.
So you say dual credit with Lubbock ISD, and there's several programs that we have that can lead in to go into your program. What types of programs does Lubbock ISD offer that translate into what y'all are to go into your program?
So a lot of the ones that they have here at Lubbock ISD will be the phlebotomy, the EKG, the patient care technician. There is also the EMT basic. And so with those classes, that enhances. But there's also the professionalism side of like the business computer courses, the resume building, and just plain English and humanities and even mathematics. All of that's needed to be successful in any of the allied health programs at South Plains College.
All right. So in your surgical technology program, tell me what career fields that these kids could go into after they graduate from your program.
So there is a lot. So one, you can just do surgical in a big hospital trauma facility. You can specialize in general, neurology, hearts, cardiovascular, even to plastics, to L&D, delivering babies. We've had some go into dental. So they can definitely do the dental work. We've had some people even go into a veterinary tech. So there's those stepping fields. And then there's also where they're using it. I've got two that when they first started, when I first took over as a director, they came in and they wanted to be surgeons. So they're actually in residency school right now.
Cool.
So that is really exciting. They wanted to get in and just have a stepping stone, let them know if that's what they wanted to do instead of spending years of, oh, that's not what I want to do.
For sure.
And then there's the stepping stone of becoming an educator. And so you can teach, you become a mentorship within the hospital. There is actually a big push for surgical technologists being educators in the operating room that will teach all of the standards and specializing the changes that are happening around the nation.
That's cool. And surgical technology has such a huge impact. I think people forget, but one little thing, one little piece of bacteria or whatever in the surgical room can be devastating.
Yes.
So the things that you guys do are literally saving lives.
Yes, for sure. I tell everybody that comes into my program or that I taught to that you've got to realize that we are an advocate for a sleeping patient. And that advocacy is huge. If we don't perform the skills the way that they're going to be, you're basically going to change somebody's life. And it's probably not going to be for the better. So not only do we have to know the surgical procedure that the surgeon is performing, we have to know what the RN is doing in the room. We have to know how to take care of that patient in all the different elements. So I tell people a lot of times, because a lot of people know what a registered nurse does. Well, we do the exact same thing a registered nurse does, but we don't push medications. We have to do the calculations. We have to know the drugs, but we don't push the medications into the patient.
Gotcha. Let's talk a little bit. We're really lucky that you were here today. Obviously, we have a really robust health program here at Lubbock ISD. And you guys are here partnering with us today and doing some demos. So tell us about what you're here doing today.
Yeah, so this is actually our second year to do it, and we have fun. This is one of our elements. I love getting out of the office. So we come in and we tell everybody about our programs, and then we allow them to get hands-on. So I think learning should be fun. So we tell them, hey, you have to do book work. Yes, you have to sit in front of a lecture. And you have to take tests over that. But then after we learn that through the book, we learn it in a lab. And we actually put that into a skill. And then what we do after that, we have you learn the skill, and then we put it in a competition. So we have competitions. Who's ever the winner, they get the prize. And whatever prize that is that day is what you get. And so today what we're doing is we're teaching them how to gown and glove and become a sterile person in order to do an operation. We also brought our lap sim, which is an amazing thing that actually doctors and PAs train on to do laparoscopic cases. So we can do laparoscopic gallbladders and appendix with this particular machine. And then we brought bananas to show suturing. So in our field, for a surgical technologist at the base level, it's out of our scope of practice to do suturing. But the next step in surgical technology is a first assistant, and they are allowed to suture. So we just kind of introduced that to have a more stepping stone of an interest. And then we actually we went to, one of the local stores here, and we went and bought meat, like cow meat, for our students to actually see what we use to cauterize bleeders. So sometimes when we're in surgery, we don't have time to hold pressure when we cut something. So if we're cutting a vein, it's going to ooze, it's going to bleed. Well, eventually that bleeding is going to catch up if we keep letting it bleed. So we bring our electric cautery unit. And so then they can take that meat and see how the different muscles and the Z-lines react, how a cautery would bring and flex that muscle. But then it also shows they can write their name in it and just really get them interested in to say, hey, this is something different, because you got to pull out all of the elements you can to interest anybody. into a program.
And y'all had some organs out there too, right?
We did. So we ordered some or some organs, and the organs that we had, I was really excited today. We brought a pig belly in, and they got to cut it open. They got to see the contents that was still in there, which is crazy.
That's what I was smelling earlier.
Yeah. And then they were able to staple the stomach. So they were able to see how the surgical equipment is used. We've got some hearts in there. We actually have a full cardiovascular setup. So it has the heart, the trach, the lungs. And so they're able to see that. And we told them that you can cut on anything, open anything, just kind of maneuver anything around. We've got a whole bunch we have brains, we have spinal cords in there. And not just like of one animal, but of different animals. And so we order these off of the internet. It's all good and found. That's what they're raised for. So, and it's for educational purposes. And it seems to really draw in interest other than just seeing it in a book or have a diagram on a piece of paper.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that we've seen in so many classes. Like you said, like the suturing may be outside of your scope, but it's that next element that the kids get to put their hands on. They get to see maybe not what they're doing right now, but what they could be doing. And we've talked a lot about increasing our student engagement, getting those kids connected. And one of the ways that we do that is by, hey, man, try this out. Like, you might not do this for years, but check it out. See what it feels like.
It's like give it a chance. And it gives them that opportunity to really see what y'all are doing in the field. And it's not just, like you're saying, in a book. Like you can read through it and it's like, oh, it looks gross, but when they actually do it, it's like, this is kind of cool, and it really, that hands-on portion and giving those kids a chance to even go in and, staple a stomach and, really get to do the thing instead of not even on a dummy. It's actually on a piece of meat.
Yeah.
And, it's just that extra element that's just like, yeah, this is something I could do. This is something pretty cool. And it's maybe been something they never thought they could do. And now they're like, oh, I could staple a stomach all day long. Yeah. It's
and literally incorporating all their senses, right?
Yes.
So they're feeling what the muscle feels
Yep,
like. They're smelling that cauterizing.
They're just not tasting. But I brought candy. That's the only thing that they can taste.
I'm glad they're not tasting.
That's right. And it's been really good. We always say we do this because we love it. But when you can get one interest, that's all that matters. It's any time that there's just one person. We've actually had a lot of interest, but one student in particular was like, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something in the medical field. This is it. And so I'm like, it's worth the whole day. It's worth ordering everything and coming out here. And of course, y'all are amazing. Lubbock ISD has always been awesome to me. And so, one student can change. I'm perfectly fine with that. But we actually had a lot from last year come into our program, and we're really excited about that.
That's awesome. So whenever you are, whenever you're doing these things, and there's other colleges that want to try and do the same thing, what could you say to other colleges that are wanting to get more involved with the high schools and the health science programs across in their areas? How do you get involved? What is y'all's process of doing that?
So that's a great question. I'm actually on a national education committee for surgical technology. And so I go around all over the nation and I speak to a lot of colleges and instructors about how to get involved. And one of the things is going to your local high schools and saying, we can bridge into this, taking that extra excitement. I always tell my students, if I don't like the subject, I know you're not going to like it. So let's figure out a way to all like it together. And so with this happening with trying to get a more push into the medical field, whether it just not be surgical technology, but EMT, radiology, respiratory, there's always a demand of that. And I really tried to explain to them that it's a good career. It's a stable career. When COVID happened, people weren't working. The medical field people were working. Right. And we are able to be moved into any level of the hospital to help out because of our training that we give. And so I really tell them to explain this and then integrate some of those classes that are dual credit. Allow that to be a part of your application process. So it interests them. If I do this in high school, then I'm a step above. That's right. And I can come in and do this.
Mm-hmm. Kristie, thank you for all you're doing. Kristie, you're just an amazing person.
Thank you.
Love having you. You guys don't know, but not only does she do this with her program, she partners with Lubbock ISD. She also volunteers as well and gives a lot of her time to help grow and develop young people through some different organizations. And
Yes.
particularly scouting. And that's actually how Kristie and I know each other. And so
Yep.
I just thank you for all that you're doing and for the partnership that you have here, seeing the smiles on the kids' faces and the frowns when the smoke goes up from the
Yes.
meat and all the things, right? It's all that engagement.
You have to give them all the elements.
That's it.
You got to
That's
let them
it.
all know, because you don't want that one priest to go, I didn't know you had to touch blood. Well,
Right. Well,
You get
You
surgery.
do.
welcome to medical. Yeah, exactly. So thank you
Yeah.
so much
Thank
for your
you.
time. Anything else you'd like to add for the people?
no, just one of the things is I hear a lot is that people say that they can't do it because they can't memorize things. They can't learn different things. They have a disability. I'm a huge advocate. I will tell you, I have a very renowned disability of learning. And I've been able to push through everything. And I have like 7, 8 different techniques that allow my students to learn and retain the knowledge. And then, like I said, I'm getting my doctorate now. So, I mean, it is possible in any field that you want to do. You just have to find your little niche or that one person that is going to help you through it. And so don't be afraid to ask for help. And I think that is the biggest component I could have any high school do is work on communication, like allow them to be open about anything.
That's awesome. Kristie, thank you so much.
Yeah, we appreciate you being here.
Yeah. Thank you all.
Absolutely.
It
All
was
right.
fun.
We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.